What is going on, guys? If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe while you're at it because we got other projects going on like this one too. But today, this is what we are going to be working on. It's a 2005 Jeep Wrangler X Unlimited. So this is just a friend of mine's rig, and they asked if I'd be willing to install a lift for them. And I said yes. So yeah. Just picked up these wheels and tires for it. Got, I'm assuming that's shocks or whatever, but all the springs and got everything. This is the Rough Country 4-inch lift. This is their cheapest lift. Doesn't got any sorts of anything special. It's just pretty much springs and stuff. But yeah, so hopefully I'm gonna be able to try to do a pretty good job of showing you guys exactly how to do this. I would recommend reading the instructions. Nobody wants to use instructions. Everybody just wants to jump right into it, start pulling tires off, get the thing up in the air. But you never know. I know my last lift I did that, and it ended up hurting me because there was a little step that I missed, and it hurt me really bad. I had to backtrack a ton. So first things first, read that. Okay, so first things first, you're gonna want to look at your tools needed. I can see right here it says that you need a Pitman arm puller. I don't have that. I might be able to rent that if I absolutely need it. But I am hoping that there's a way to get that Pitman arm off without using a Pitman arm puller. Okay, guys. So on the first page, you're gonna take your tires off like I already did. And first step is to remove this bolt right here on the, I think they called this the track bar. And next, you are going to be removing the sway bar link right here. And you're gonna be removing the shock. And then you're gonna be dropping the axle down and removing this spring. So that's what we're gonna be doing right now. So let's get big bolts like these. It is necessary that you have a cheater bar because when you don't have much room to break a bolt loose with a little ratchet like that, you're gonna need some extra torque. So I got this to break it loose, and now I'm gonna take this off and start backing it off like normal. Here's another thing, guys, a little tip. When you're done, if you gotta keep your stock hardware, just put it right back where it goes and put the nut on the back side. You don't lose your stuff and you know exactly where everything goes, because we will have to reuse this bolt and we want to make sure we know exactly which one it is. Alrighty, so we kind of jumped ahead a couple steps. The next thing you need to do though, take that off, just the top one right there. Pull this out. Then you're going to want to remove this bottom bolt and be careful because this thing is the only thing supporting this axle after that. So what I did is I just put a jack under there and just held it up so that when I was pulling that bolt out, it didn't get all jackknifed. I didn't have to do it, but in the instructions it says you're gonna wanna loosen this bolt and the bolt that holds this onto the axle. Loosen those because when they're super tight, it kind of binds up sometimes. You get some under, and this is the bolt we need to take off right here. It's just a normal bolt with a nut on the back side, so I'm just gonna spray some of that on there. This is called coil. Stuff is awesome. So that's a 21 mil. I'm just gonna get the impact on this right here and see if that'll just rip the nut right off. Go ahead and roast me for using a silver socket. Works fine. Alrighty guys, so I got this bolt out and just knocked this out. So these holes are square, as you can see. They were just punched in there. They were perforated, as the instructions like to say. So we got to use some sort of tool to change the shape of that, to use the new bolts that the kit gives us. Alrighty guys, so I finally understand what it's trying to say. So you can see those two rectangles kind of look like they're kind of stamped into the side. Those need to come out. I don't know if they're like actually part of it, or if they're like pressed in place or what, but you gotta cut them out or punch them out, it says. But the reason is because you're gonna be using these. So these, the washer is flat on one side and so is the bolt. And the reason that is because when you turn the bolt, stupid air. Okay, sorry about that guys, my air compressor turned on. So these they're called cammed bolts, and so when you turn them, the bolt has to move forward and backwards because the washer has to stay in the same place, because you can see right there those ridges right there and right there, they hold the washer. So when you turn the bolt has to move back and forth. And so you got to remove those sections so that the bolt can slide back and forth rather than just being stuck in the center. Alrighty guys, well, I tried punching them out and I can't. It looks like they definitely are just different sections of frame or different sections of metal, but they're tack welded into place and I couldn't break the tack welds with that. So I am gonna have to get a cutting tool out. I think I'm just gonna go for the Sawzall. Well, I wanted to use the Sawzall, but the blades were too thick to fit in that little square. So I just threw one that I had already used in the vise and kind of ground it down with the angle grinder. So hopefully that'll work now, if you guys can see that. Okay, that thing actually worked pretty good. So as you can see, I just put the 4 cuts in the corners right there, and then I'm just gonna take something and knock those out, because I won't be able to get the Sawzall in there. Obviously, you can't make a cut like that with that. But hopefully I'll be able to knock those out with the hammer, just bend them back and forth till they break off or something. And just like that, you can see that it came right off. I just bent it out and pulled it back and forth a couple times, and that little tab broke right off. So do that to the other side, and then we got to do it to this side too. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so lastly, you're gonna want to go through and make sure. When I bent this thing out right here, it like made a little piece that kind of like stuck out this like towards me, and it would have gotten in the way of the little washer being on here on this lip. So you're gonna want to make sure you go through and grind those down so that it's a flat surface other than those lips, because otherwise that cam is not gonna sit right on here, and you want to make sure that it's flat everywhere other than these. So yeah, make sure you do that. Alrighty, so I've got the other side done now, and you can see now, if I go turn the bolt, you can see I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. You can see this whole arm and the whole axle moving because these cam gears on the washers twist and then they move everything. So that's the whole point of that. So I got both sides of that done, and I'm honestly not sure what the next step is. I gotta go back to the instructions. Okay, so the next step, it says, is to install your new coil spring. And then you gotta raise the axle high enough that it holds it. And after looking at pictures and stuff, the longer ones are the front ones. And so yeah, there's 4 of them that come in the box. The longer ones are the front ones, just so you guys know. Okay guys, so instead of actually putting the coil spring in right now, I'm gonna start working on the other side and get the other side to the same point this side is, because I can't get this axle to jump far enough down to get this thing in, and I can't compress it because this thing is like really stiff. At this point in time, guys, I had already got the springs on, so yeah, I forgot to video that. Well, I finally got this thing off. It took me a solid half hour to get it off. Of course, it had to be the one that I had absolutely no reach on. So now I gotta get this off, get that to come back down out of there, which might prove to be pretty hard. So I'm gonna start trying to get it out. We'll see. So I felt the pressure. I'm driving to town to go get a Pitman arm puller. Yeah, I was not able to get that thing off. I might have to go get a pickle fork too, because I can't get that sway bar end link off that off the Pitman arm itself. I might be able to, like, you know, I could probably use the Pitman arm puller and pull the Pitman arm with the end link on it, and then beat the Pitman arm off the end link after. It'd probably be easier and have more leverage and stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't know. I'll get it figured out, but it's a half-hour drive, so need to get there and need to get back. So yeah, see you guys in a bit. Guys, well, I end up getting a pickle fork and the Pitman arm puller. So if I can't get that tie rod end off, I can use that pickle fork. I really don't want to do that because that ruins the dust seal most of the time. And a lot of times you're supposed to replace it, and I don't want to pay for another tie rod end link. So I won't use it unless I have to. But if I have to, I have to. So yeah. Guys, just go get that. It costs $10. And I'm getting my money back when I take it back. And it, like, I just put it up there, you know, use a 5-foot breaker bar. And just snap, came right off. So, now how to get this Pitman arm off. So you loosen these things, and then this, you can adjust this. So this was flipped up the other way, and so I just loosened that so that I could flip it over. And this is what I did with my truck, and hopefully it works here. So I can move this anywhere. It's still connected on the other side. Take a block of wood and set this on there, and you beat that with a hammer. And I swung twice with the one on my truck. That one right there, that's what I did with that. Boom, boom, came right off. So hopefully I have the same luck with this. That way I won't have to use the pickle fork and I won't have to ruin that ball joint. Got myself some nice soft cedar. Let's see how this goes. And just like that, came right off. See how good that worked? Alrighty guys, so this is the new Pitman arm. This is a drop Pitman arm, so you can see it's got way harsher of an angle, and that's because you're dropping the whole suspension down and you don't want bad steering angles. So this sets everything up better. So I'm gonna mount it to the Jeep first before mounting it to that, because I don't want to mount it the wrong way. So yeah, where there's a tooth missing, there's 4 corners. And on this, you can see that there is a spline missing on there. So it's kind of hard to, I mean, you can place it around 90 degrees, but it kind of, I mean, you kind of know which one to go to. So yeah, just make sure you guys are putting it on right. Oh, and by the way, this is the crescent wrench I use. This big old crescent wrench. That thing came right off. So that one, that really wasn't that hard to do, but when you put this back on, this needs to be torqued down to 185 foot-pounds, which is a lot. So make sure you get that thing nice and tight. All right, guys, here's a little trick. When you're trying to put that Pitman arm back on, that ball joint will just spin when you're trying to tighten that nut. So if you put the jack under it and press up real hard, it'll act like that thing is getting seated in there, and the friction will keep it from spinning. So yeah, there's a little tip. Alrighty guys, the next step, we're on step 16. We got to put the shock relocation bracket up in the top. I'll show you what they look like. This is what they look like, and I have the other one halfway kind of mounted in. So you can see it right there, and then the shock mounts to that hole right there after. But for some reason, the bolts that came with the kit, they just, I mean, you can't even turn the nut down on the bolt. I don't know why they're so like tight. Like, that thing's, ouch, that thing's still really hot. Ow! Here, I'll show you. My air compressor just filled up. That's actually better than last time. Last time it didn't get near that far. So yeah, you can see the oil burning off there because it's so hot. So I seriously, I don't know why Rough Country did this. I don't know if it's them or the people that gave them the hardware. Oh my gosh. But yeah, there's no reason that I should be doing that. And it's like, it's good for like the first 4 or 5 threads after you get the lock part onto it. So yeah, and they're in such an awkward spot to get to. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me why they would have done that. So far, this is the only thing that I've seen in the kit that I don't like, but I don't like it at all. I mean, I should not have to put this much force into a nut just turning on a brand new bolt. So what I'm trying to tell you guys right now is put yours in a vise and run them up and down the bolt a solid 3 or 4 times at least before you even put it in there. Because right now the other one's like halfway turned on, and I can't get it anymore. Air gun won't push it any farther, and I can't even turn it by hand, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna pull that one back off and then do the same thing to it. So yeah. Alrighty guys, I've run this bolt, or this nut, up and down this bolt about 10 times now, and I'm finally getting to the point that I can actually do it, and the air gun can do it still, or now. So, and that's like a must. Like, these things help so much, especially like, because in the spot that it's in, it is so difficult to get a wrench up on the top bolt to hold it there. So like, when you get it there, you want to just be able to use that thing and just all the way done. Like, you don't want to have to sit there and fiddle with it forever. So yeah, so I'm gonna pull that other bolt off and do the same thing, and I'm assuming the smaller ones are probably the same way too, just not as bad, so I'm gonna do those ones too. Alrighty guys, so sorry for the kind of jump forward. The wind was blowing really bad just out of nowhere, and the audio wasn't hardly recording at all because of it. So I got the shocks in on both sides. You just have the mounts sitting like that, and then yeah, so you put the shock in. The shocks are pretty self-explanatory. Since the new angle of this, since they pushed this top out, this bottom doesn't like to line up very well. So it's hard to get the bolt through on both sides because the shock is angled, so when the bolt goes through, it doesn't like to hit the other hole. So if you put the bolt back through this way, it's easier because you can put a screwdriver under there and then press the shock up and then get the bolt to come through by beating the backside with a hammer or something while you're holding it up with the screwdriver. And if you try going the other way, it's just impossible. So yeah, just make sure you guys come back this way. Our next step is we're on 21 now. Remove the stock stabilizers and bracket from the axle. So we gotta remove that stabilizer from the axle over there. And that bolt that they're talking about is that one right there. You can see that's the stock stabilizer right there. We need to remove that bolt right there. Alrighty guys, so we moved forward a couple steps again. So this piece right here is one piece, and what you do is you're going to take your stabilizer and you're going to unbolt it and move it up, and the bolt that goes through the stabilizer goes right here. So this sleeve slides in here, and you can see I used the stock bolt and went through that sleeve, and then the nut goes on the backside. And then you bolt this on, and you can see it's just got two bolts that go through. And you bolt this on. You want to do this. You want to do this bolt first, and then this one, and you don't tighten anything. And then you do these two that hold this on. And then once you get all that, you tighten it all down, make sure everything fits, and then you're gonna drill a hole right through there, through this plate, and then you're gonna put a bolt through there and tighten that down too. And then after you do that, you're gonna take these and you're gonna loosen them, and you're gonna flip it up and you're gonna move it back. I think it said like 1.5 inches or so. We'll go back and look at the instructions again. And then this right here is gonna mount to this right here. So yeah. Okay guys, we have that done. So we are almost done with the front end. So next, we are going to take this bracket, and you want to loosen those bolts, and you want to put a piece of tape on the tie rod right where this thing is. And if you have an 07 to 2010 model, you're going to slide that bracket 1.25 inches that direction and retighten it. And you're going to take that plate and you're going to flip it to the top like that. If you have a 2011 model, you're going to move it 1.5 inches rather than 1.25 inches. One thing that's funny to me is all the instructions say 07 to 2010, but this Jeep is a 2005. So I don't know what to say. When I bought the kit, it said it was for 2005s also. So yeah, I don't know. But everything's working so far. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and move that, and then after we move that, we have to put in the back and forth. Where's that thing at? That over there. It used to go down here. I assume that's what this spot is for right here. And then all we got to do after that is there's little brackets to drop these down so your brake lines aren't all munched up and stuff. So yeah, let's get working on it. You are supposed to take your end links off the rear and you're using those on the front. And I was correct about using this spot right here to mount your, I don't know what that bar is called, track bar or something like that. And this is the factory bolt, and you're using this bolt to go right through there to mount it. And then it mounts in the same spot over there. You can see it right there. So it mounts right there and right there. So yeah, I need to take that bolt back out and replace it and then mount it right there where it's supposed to go. Alrighty guys, I am finished with the front end except for the sway bar end links, which aren't hard to do. I just haven't done them because you got to pull the ones off the rear, and I don't want to pull the tires off and stuff. I could probably get them off without pulling the tires off pretty easy, but I just don't want to do it tonight. I just plan on getting the front done, and I'm going to be pulling the back end off tomorrow anyway, so I'll just do it then. I'm going to go through and make sure everything's tight, and actually, you know what? I know those ones aren't tight yet. Haven't tightened those down yet. Need to tighten those. Then as soon as I tighten those, I'll be mounting tires on and dropping her down. So, yeah. You guys, I can't even believe how this thing looks right now. Oh my gosh. It's squatting so hard. Oh, well, the front is done. I still got to do the sway bar links, but I'm not going to do that till tomorrow. And then I still got to adjust the tie rod and stuff. Alrighty, guys. Well, it's the next day now, and I've started on the rear vehicle. I got it jacked up, and I've taken a couple things off. The instructions are kind of unclear about like what steps, and it doesn't make really sense to me to follow the exact steps that they want you to. But what you need to know is your tie rod end links. These need to go to the front. You're replacing the front ones with the rear ones. But you do need to loosen the bolts. So you need to loosen that one, that one, that one, and the one on the bottom of the axle so that you can travel this. You got to remove your shock. And then you got to take your brake line thing out. And then after you get it all done, oh, you got to remove this too. Your drag link, I think that's called, or something like that, or track bar or something like that. So you got to remove all that, and you're going to replace these with the new ones, and you're going to take, sorry guys if I'm kind of being slow, our house just got hit by a tornado. If you can see up there, there is a couch cushion in the tree, like literally was out here working on it, and it just ripped the barn apart, or the shop I mean. So yeah, I was just sitting in here, and in the middle of nowhere, or just like that, I was standing in the middle of one. So which is weird because we've never had stuff like that happen before here. So yeah, just need to get back to work though. Alrighty guys, I have jumped a couple steps ahead again. So I don't know what all you guys saw last time. I just took an hour trying to get this sway bar end link off. It was stuck on there. So I finally got that off, and I pulled this off too. I don't know that I don't think I had to pull this off. So yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Now, so you have these things, and these are the little shims, and what it does is when you drop this axle down, it's gonna go like this because of the way that the trailing arms and stuff work. So these come in here, and those little notches lock into place right there, so you can't move it. And so all that's going to do is just angle so that the spring sits on there right, because those springs are a lot taller. So I've got that done. That's where we're at right now. Right now I'm at the point that I need to get the new springs in, but they're really tall and really stiff, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because I can't drop this axle down far enough. So we'll see. I don't know. I might figure it out, might not. Alrighty guys, so I have got the coil springs installed on both sides. I was able to get that done. So now you're gonna take this bracket that you have, and you're gonna don't use the factory hardware to go through that. And you don't have to put the sleeve in yet like I did. I put the sleeve in already. I was thinking I was gonna bolt this up, but you have to drill a hole right there on that hole in the bottom. You have to drill a hole right there so that you can bolt that in right there. And this thing is too tall to drill a hole with the drill bit. So what I'm saying is, stick your bolts through, get it all lined up, mark a spot, and then pull it back off so that you can drill that hole. Because you can't drill it when that thing is pulled it or put in. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so I've got the shocks installed, I've got the track bar installed, I've got everything installed. The only thing I don't have is the sway bar end link. And so this mounts in the factory location down there, and then mounts on the outside of this right here. And you gotta use the new hardware, and you put one of these sleeves through the rubber as the inner race. And so you're gonna be using that as your inner race, and that's gonna, keep it from compressing too much, So yeah, I gotta do that, and then I gotta put the ones from the rears back on the front, and then I gotta adjust the steering a little bit, and then we are done. So we're getting really close. And just like that, we are all done with the rear. We are ready to put the tires back on. I can now pull these jack stands out of underneath of it. Ready to mount some tires and see how this thing looks. Alrighty guys, somehow I completely spaced videoing the rest of the installment of the lift. All I had to do was take the sway bar end links from the rear end and install them on the front. And so I installed them on the front and put all the tires on, and it was good to go, other than the bar that goes from the steering arm to the actual axle and stuff. You got to adjust that so that the steering wheel is straight when the tires are straight, and if you don't, your traction control light is going to come on and it's going to start freaking out. So yeah. So thanks for sticking along to the whole video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found it informative. Right after this, I will insert some photos of how the Jeep looked after a wash and after all the lift was done and everything. Customer was super happy, and I hope you guys will be too.